Refusing to go on the family vacation because my sister demanded I babysit at 2 a.m. I was tired of always being the helper and babysitter on family outings. I had to move out of my parents' house because I was constantly forced to watch my 3 nephews. Last year, we went on a family vacation to the coast. I rode with my parents, and they paid for my hotel room. But I had to share the room with 3 rowdy boys because my sister and her husband wanted a room to themselves. I was promised time to myself on the vacation, but instead, I ended up having to help with the kids. I complained to everyone about it, but was reminded I was there for free. We only did one thing I wanted to do, which was tour an art gallery. My parents planned a beach trip for June, assuming I would ride along like last year, but I refused. I said I'd drive myself and pay for my own hotel room to have my own space. My parents were shocked and tried to convince me otherwise, but I stood my ground. My sister called to yell at me, saying I'd ruin the vacation. I stood my ground, and now my sister is not speaking to me, and my parents are still trying to convince me to ride with them. I'm still refusing, but the pressure is getting to me. Am I the jerk for not giving in? Update. My sister saw my post on Reddit and got furious. She called our parents, and they were horrified by the comments. They canceled the vacation, and my parents acknowledged their mistake in using me as a free babysitter. They won't push babysitting on me again. My sister was upset that no one sided with her in the comments. She called me, implying I have no life and should help because I'm young and single. I recorded the call and showed it to our parents, leading to a confrontation between them and my sister. It was admitted that my sister didn't trust strangers to babysit, not about the money. My brother-in-law apologized for his inaction, and they agreed to get a normal babysitter. The family vacation was reinstated, and I plan to enjoy it on my terms. Update 2. My sister demanded I take down my posts, but I refused. She cried and demanded, but I stood my ground. My parents begged me to take the posts down, but I refused, stating they needed to stop enabling my sister. My sister called to yell at me, but my brother-in-law intervened and promised to talk to her. The family vacation is still on, and I plan to enjoy it freely. Update 3. After the family vacation, my parents didn't enable my sister to make me babysit, but she tried to find out my room, which got her in trouble with her husband. I ensured the hotel didn't give out my information, and my family tried to guilt-trip me, but I stood my ground. I refused to watch my sister's kids and asserted my boundaries. I planned to enjoy the vacation on my terms. 15 minutes and then took the elevator up. I was on a different floor and on the other end of the hotel. I had a splendid night, and the next morning we all went out for breakfast, but I made sure they left first. I was the last one out, just like I was the last one in the night before. Breakfast went fine. Then I gave an FYI that I was going to be doing my own thing for the day. My mother tried to bring up plans to go to the aquarium and a couple of other places, so I said I'd meet them for those, but the rest of the day was mine until family dinner. They accepted this, and that day went fine too. Back at the hotel that evening, though, my sister caught me leaving my room. She must have been stalking the whole floor looking for me. I went back to my room to chill a bit before dinner because I was tired from walking so much, and my sister was just down the hall. When I left my room to meet them for dinner, she tried to corner me and say that I'd ruined the family vacation for her because now it wasn't hardly any different for her than at home since she had to wrangle her kids. I called bullshit because my parents were helping her a lot. Then I told her that I'm sick of this song and dance of being her scapegoat. And it's already over, so leave me the hell alone and get on with your own life. Then I started walking with her yelling, "Hey, I'm trying to talk to you." I told her I didn't give a crap and was going to dinner. She followed me to the elevator, and we both said nothing to each other. I didn't stay silent and told my parents and my brother-in-law that my sister had stalked me to find my room. She was scolded like a child. She had a pity party. I told her to stop milking it and grow up. The old days when she could force her will on me were over, and then I walked out of the lobby into my car. This time I was the first one to dinner. When everyone else arrived, my sister looked depressed, but not a damn thing was said about what happened before, and that was just fine with me. My sister refrained from making contact with me the entire evening, and this time I didn't give a crap about riding in the elevator with the rest of them. I told them bluntly that unless it was an emergency, no one is to come knocking on my door. I had the "Do Not Disturb" sign for a reason. The final day, everything went swimmingly. Neither my sister nor mother bothered me at all. They'd fully surrendered at this point. Yes, during the whole vacation, I did play with my nephews a bit. I'm not a complete jerk. I didn't stonewall them. I kept up being the fun uncle, just not the babysitter uncle. The kids didn't even seem to care. They just wanted to play. I even bought each of them one of those little baggies of crystals and polished stones to take home as a souvenir. There was a bit of mild drama between my sister and her husband, but that was just some small disagreements that I didn't bother to pay attention to. All in all, I'd call the vacation a win because it finally hit home for my mother and sister that the old way they did things involving me is over, and I have my own life. Update 4. Mother and sister saw my last post. They really don't know when to let well enough alone. Hey, Mom, hey, sis, I warned you that if you didn't stop, I would go right back to Reddit, and here I am. The short of it is that my mother and sister saw my last post and freaked out. My sister was stalking my account for days because she knew I'd post. Well, what did she expect? That I would just say everybody had a good time. She called me and cried that I made her look like a bad mother. I ended up replying, well, if the glass slipper fits. My sister argued with me some more, but I asked her to name anything in the post that was a lie. She tried several times, but I pointed out that every detail was spot on. So what does she do? She calls Mommy. Then my mother showed up at my door demanding I delete all the posts. I told her no, and now I have ammunition for one more. I ended up making her leave crying. I spoke with my mother and father over the phone later and bluntly told them that their enabling of my sister led to the previous family dynamic. I will never go back to how things were, so if they have any hope of that left, I'm snuffing it out for good. My parents then told my sister for the love of God to stop blaming me and to leave me alone. They can't take the stress of my retaliation anymore. Well, my sister had a literal, no one loves me pity party, and my parents had to snap her back to reality. My brother-in-law hasn't called. Pretty sure he's staying neutral, but this can't be good for his marriage or my familial connection to him. So out of respect to my brother-in-law, I am sorry, man, but your wife just pushed me too far. Currently, my parents are insisting my sister gets counseling, because she can't be a mom and juggle the habits of her old life too. Woman up, as they say. Either way, I'm hoping this is my last post. You hear that, sis? If you don't stop thinking I should have been your personal slave, babysitter, watchdog, etc., etc., and want to keep acting like the whole world is against you because you can't lord over me, then we can't be around each other. Maybe we can get along and move past this crap if you're willing. Don't give me a reason to write anything else, and the Reddit posts about you and here, I'll only post ones involving me and the treatment I get from people. Treat me like a decent human being, and this will be over. Cabbage. Update, my parents and I had a long talk in which they have apologized, and for the moment, we have agreed that I'll keep a bit of a distance until Thanksgiving. I also had a man-to-man talk with my brother-in-law last night over some cold beers. He told my sister she needed counseling, or he would separate from her, and they are in the process of finding her a counselor. He also told me that while my sister was an absolute witch to me at home, she is a very loving and endearing wife. But she also admitted that she liked being an only child. We're nearly a decade apart in age, so my sister held onto some resentment about that for a long time and just let it build up. She's agreed that she does need counseling, and will be going as soon as they get it set up. They've also found a qualified babysitter to look after my nephews. Aside from those things, my brother-in-law did admit that he was angry with me too, but didn't step in when I needed him. So we've agreed that this was all just a very bad situation that needs to be ended. So we're just going to let it rest in peace from here on out. Lastly, these posts have gotten me a girlfriend. The girl I like had a feeling it was me after she read them and was just waiting for me to say something. And we'll be going on our first date tonight. So I thank everybody here for their immense support. I really needed it.